because you came March 6th. You came March 6th, and then we shut down March 9th. So you came 3 days before the world shut down. So you're the last person I had here. So that's always something I can hang my hat on.
Yes, and we had a good conversation, and I tried to give some gems to anybody who is interested in becoming an entrepreneur, because it's a very, very hard task.
Yeah, and
It's
several of those girls that were there that day have continued to buy from you.
Yes, they have. They have.
So, and before we get into to your story, you know, this is an entrepreneurship class, and like we talked about last time, we have, you know, at this point in the year, we're just starting out how they would start a business, and we looked at some of your YouTube stuff, we looked at your website, and some of them have seen your billboards on I-55, and some of them still are not 100% sure what it is you do and what you and even though we saw also your article in Sheen magazine, the national publication. So we saw that as well. So some of them are still not 100% sure what you do and how you got into it. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about the hair luxury company and how you got into it? Because it's a pretty cool story.
Yes. So I'm a scientist by training. So I have training from Indiana University School of Medicine in Indianapolis. And I have been a scientist. I'm a microbiologist by training. So I've been a scientist now for 11 years, because I obtained my PhD in 2010. And I'm also a professor at Jackson State, so I know I've taught a couple of your students. And I'm parking right now, so just bear with me.
I'll take your time.
But yeah, what I do is, by training, I'm a microbiologist, and I've always wanted to produce my own products for hair. So it just happened at the right moment and at the right time for me. So let's see. So back in 2014, I opened a boutique here in Jackson, and at the boutique, I was surrounded by 4 different beauty salons. And every salon that I was surrounded by, none of them had their own hair products. They were using other people's hair products, but people would come to my boutique and say, hey, I want to buy hair, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. And I'm like, oh, well, no, I sell clothes. I don't sell hair. And I didn't realize how big of an industry the hair industry was until I started researching how much people make off hair, like I'm saying wigs and weaves, and how much people make off hair products, and how rare it is to have a Black hair care line that's successful. It is a couple that's out there, but they typically, once they get to a certain plateau, they'll sell it to a bigger brand. They don't run the brand until it reaches that $270 or $250 million range of income that you can make. Hair luxury has been around since 2014. We launched the products where we put them in stores in 2019. In December of 2019. And so all of 2020, we have been branding on or selling products on Walmart.com. Wow. We sell products on our own website, which is hairluxuryco.com. And we have been interviewed by maybe 17 or 18 different magazines, national magazines, and some local and regional podcasts and magazines. We have our own hair show, which is called Hair Talk 101, where we talk about different issues that come with men and women, with that growing their beards, growing their hair, male pattern baldness, hair thinning in women who's going through menopause, women who has gotten cancer or chemotherapy treatment, who's not able to grow their hair back. We have grown these women's hair back with our products. Wow. So, I do a lot. So I don't know where you want me to start with my story, but we started in 2014 when I had my own boutique. I started more and more getting more interested in hair products. I actually went natural in 2008 when I was in grad school, and I know I started playing with aloe vera and different things then on my own hair. And And once I met my business partner, who is actually a cosmetologist here, we partnered in and we started to develop the products that we knew we needed for hair. Very innovative products that actually penetrate the hair follicles, so it'll actually absorb into the hair versus coating the hair. And that's what makes our product different from what's already out there.
Wow.
That actually works.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a couple of things that I wanted to ask you that you briefly mentioned. Now, when we're talking about starting a business, and you guys do not have a brick and mortar site, you guys are 100% online. You do the pop-up shops and things like that. I know you've gone to Birmingham, Atlanta, and in Jackson as well, but you do not have a dedicated retail space, correct?
We do not have a retail space, but we just recently purchased a warehouse in January 2020 where we use as a hub to bottle products and ship. We do shipping and receiving at the warehouse. Now, we're thinking about actually doing a local retail space where people can come into the store and pick up hair as well as our brand products. Okay. We're thinking about it, me and my business partner, but it's on Lynch Street. Our warehouse is on Lynch Street, J.R. Lynch Street in Jackson.
Right down the street from campus. But when I have, because the part of their assignment is coming up with their own business concept. So what would be the biggest advantages of not having that retail space?
The brick and mortar?
Yes.
The overhead, number one. A brick and mortar overhead, you automatically have to pay rent or lease, or if you're purchasing a mortgage. The next one would be you have to hire employees. Now, if you have an online business, the only thing you need is maybe IT or have a little bit of IT knowledge yourself to work it yourself until you can get to a point where you can afford to to hire people. So those are two disadvantages of having a brick and mortar: the overhead, because you got to have internet, light, water, gas. You got to have a fire inspection. You have to have employees if you are not available, because if you're the only employee, that means you will have to 100% come to work every day. And every day you might not be sufficient enough to go to your brick and mortar every day. Then it's no guarantees of customer visibility. Somebody might hear about your company but don't know like your hours or when you're open or anything like that. It's a couple advantages of having a brick and mortar. People can actually come and see the product. People can actually talk to the owner, talk to you if you're the owner and you're available and you're there. But you have to grow the business on your own. And like I've had a brick and mortar, I've had, like I said, I had a boutique, so I know the advantages and disadvantages. And I've had it where I couldn't be there because I'm at Jackson State working, and I had to hire employees to work for me. And sometimes the employees aren't reliable enough to function the store like you would function it yourself, So you have to take all of that into accountability when you're trying to do a brick and mortar versus online. Now, if I had back then in 2012 when I had the boutique or created my boutique, I closed it in 2017. So I had it for 5 years. If I had a thought, okay, well, I can't keep hiring these people and waste money on my employees when I'm not bringing in that much, because what I brought in paid all the bills plus the employees, but it didn't leave me with what I was wanting to make from the business. So I would have transitioned the company, my boutique, to online, and maybe use the location like how we are now. We can't have people come in and use that location as a pickup location for local pickup. It might have worked out better for me than just getting rid of everybody and shutting the whole company down and selling off inventory, selling off racks, selling off computer POS systems and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's some advantages and disadvantages of both. And if you have good credit where you can build your business credit and you can leverage your business plan where you're staying below what you got your business loan for, it might could work out for you. Like I was able to survive with making maybe less than 35,000. My first 2 years, just because I had a business loan, so I was able to survive, not even keep buying inventory, paying staff, and stuff like that.
All right, and you did mention this just now, but something I also want to hit on, because one of the things we talked about is that even though being an entrepreneur is a big commitment, it is very possible to be an employee like you are and an entrepreneur, but you do both because you are a professor at Jackson State, but you have that security while also taking the risk of being an entrepreneur. So what are some advantages of that? Because some people do go all in, but there's also the people that, you know, they start out, or I know you love your job, but you haven't stepped away from that, but you still have your business.
Yeah, I told my job I would never leave Jackson State because I have a goal, like what I want to do professionally. So my goal, I want to educate as many students as I can in the sciences, especially like people who I know are just as ambitious as I was when I was their age. And I also teach life lessons in my course. And the advantage I feel of having a job or a career, of having a job and also having your business, is that if all else fails, if my job closes tomorrow, let's say Jackson State just becomes bankrupt and they close down, at least I have my company to fall back on for income, and vice versa. You know, you can look at it both ways.
Absolutely.
That's the advantage of that, just to have a security blanket, because they say every millionaire have more than 7 resources of income.
Yeah.
So if you already know I have 2 incomes from my job security and then my business, that my online business, you don't know the other streams of income that I have, so you'll be like, oh wow, you know, if I make $5,000 a month from my hair company, and then I'm making $7,000 a month from Jackson State. If I don't have the money from Jackson State coming in anymore, I'm still able to pay all of my bills that I need to pay, because you know you can't depend on one income all the time, because businesses have been closing left and right due to COVID. A lot of schools have been firing employees left and right because they're losing, their enrollment is dropping for students.
Yeah.
So they don't need as much faculty and staff there anymore.
Absolutely. And something else you mentioned, and this is something else that we haven't gotten to, but it's important to think about, because you said yourself, your background is in science, and you came up with your product because you came up with a scientific mixture with rice water to do this hair, and that was your background. But you're not a cosmetologist.
No.
So why is it important to surround yourself with industry experts if that's an industry you want to be in?
You always have to network. So no matter what industry you're in, you have to network. And I remember when I met my business partner, she's a trained cosmetologist who's been doing hair for 25 years. And when you surround yourself with people who can help you, you don't have to pay people, you know what I'm saying, to help you. Because for those people, expertise, you have to pay for that. And consultation can cost up in the $30,000s and $40,000s, and they can talk to you for just 45 minutes and give you the expertise. But if you have an expert on your team, it makes that company that much stronger.
Absolutely. And that's what I always say. If you're not the expert in something, I don't think it'd be smart to try to do it without training, or like you said, bring somebody on that is an expert in that, and y'all have clear defined roles of who does what. And that's right. You guys are continuing to grow.
Yes, we've hired 2 employees since we opened, and that's 2019. So it's only been 2 years. But just imagine 10 years from now.
Oh yeah.
You know, so we're very excited, and I don't know what else to say. Like it's just like, at first I was nervous at first, but the product speaks for itself. You know, when people try it and they like, oh my God, my hair has never felt like this. I really love it. is organic. So it's very rich organic materials and essential oils. So people love it and draw to it.
Yeah, and one thing you did talk about, and we got some questions here, and we got some good ones from these students, but and this is for anybody watching this later as well. We got some guys in here, and obviously guys aren't as into the hair stuff, which I get.
Right.
And we'll have some non-minorities watching this, and they probably won't be as interested in the hair business, which I get. But one thing that you did that all of that Miss Self over at Germantown and Miss Evans at Ridgeland, we all say, is that entrepreneurs solve a problem. And you talked about you had a boutique between hair stores. You saw there was a need, and you said, and then you decided how you were going to meet that need. It's not all so how can you say it's not always about what you personally like? You saw a need from a target market in Jackson that people were willing to buy. And then I always say the two questions you ask: if people will buy it, why not sell it? And if people will pay it, why not charge it?
I like that. So yes, you always have to find a problem. Just like, for example, we in Mississippi, or I say in Jackson because I'm like a Jackson girl. So like in Jackson, especially now due to COVID, a lot of stores, like if you notice, a lot of department stores have closed, and you have had an influx of like boutiques and clothes online. A lot of things are transitioning to online. So sometimes I feel like it might be better to not like just create your own business. It might be better to like maybe drop ship from another company, because you can set up your website, and it could be a free website where you can have 5 items, but it has to be like 5 items that people need. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to per se be clothes. It could be hand sanitizer. A lot of people sell hand sanitizer, but if you brand your own hand sanitizer and you sell it, you can make money from selling hand sanitizer. So, I mean, you don't have to. I just feel like you just have to figure out what's needed right now. Just like you can create. I know I have a friend. She was a seamstress, and she used to make clothes custom for different celebrities. And when COVID hit, she started making masks. She started sewing masks.
Oh yeah, that's turned into a big business.
She made $1 million selling masks.
Wow.
Custom masks, and she never made $1 million selling clothes.
Wow.
And she did that for 10 years.
Wow, that is incredible. But I do have some questions I want to get to here, and some of these are great. And we did just talk about this, and this is from Harmony Williams, who's a sophomore, and she asked, what made you want to start a business? Because we know what your story behind hair luxury, but what made you want to get into being an entrepreneur?
Oh wow, my grandparents actually goes like way back in the day. My grandparents used to own a club, like a little juke joint in Edwards, Mississippi, and and my grandfather always instilled in us that it's nothing like having your own, right? And my mom always instilled in us get an education. So in order for me not to waste my education, I'm training to become a full professor, which is rare for Black women. It's not too many Black women that's full professors. It's less than 1%.
Wow.
So once I accomplish the goal educationally, I'm still going to stay, because they don't see people like me, and I need to just stay just to make sure people get to see it. And the entrepreneurship background came from my grandfather. Then my mother, she owned a pool hall when I was in high school. She owned a pool hall in Jackson. It was like a really big pool hall, and that's how my mother made all her money.
Wow.
And she also was working for the IRS too, so she had a job and she had a pool hall. So that's where I got the mindset of always, never quit what's guaranteed for something that's not guaranteed. The pool hall may not make money every single night, but she always was gonna have her income coming from the IRS. And so that I became an entrepreneur because that's what I was surrounded by growing up. That's all I saw.
Yeah, that's great. This is from Jarvis Owsley. He's a junior, and he's asking, what challenges did you have to overcome at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey?
Challenges. I had to learn about business credit. learn about building business credit. You don't think that it's people out there that'll give you money for an idea that you have, right? So when you first start, you like, well, I got $200 and I'm gonna use every bit of my $200 to start my business. But if you do that, just filing the paperwork is $200. So you're not gonna be able to buy inventory or buy flyers or nothing to promote your business. So you have to, whatever you have, you have to be resourceful. You have to learn how to. That was the biggest challenge. Learn how to be resourceful. Yeah. And keep your $200 in your pocket and let somebody else spend their money to support your business.
Absolutely. This is from Christina Robinson. She's also a junior, and this is a good one. It says, "How do you know what specific products you need to sell?"
Just like you stated earlier, you have to see what's needed. Like right now, we know what's needed. We need masks. We need wipes. We need sanitizer wipes. We need hand sanitizer. Now people are being creative. They're making masks that you can open up the slot to eat food, eat your food with. They're making clear masks so you can see somebody's face, the clear shields. And they're being very creative with the PPP protection wear. I feel like we need, just like with apps, when people create apps, they create the apps based on things that they feel like people need, right? And that's the same way. You just have to stay on top of what's out there in the industry and stay on top of what's being created, like what's being creative and something that you like, because you can have guys who like being mechanic or who like cars. They could possibly create an app. Like if you have this problem on your car, go to the app and you can type in what you hear. I hear a knocking noise in my car. What can I do? Like if they can create an app just to tell a person what's wrong with their car and maybe have some people who specialize in that in their area, that would be a good app to have. Like Google, when you can just Google stuff. You can just have an app specifically for car stuff. Like you can just create whatever you want. You just have to find if it's a need, and then make sure in the area that you're living in that it's a need, like for that. Like,
absolutely.
You can live in the Delta and they need shops and stores, right? You can create your own little store, and you probably could be rich overnight, because it is a need.
That's what made Dollar General so much money.
Yes, exactly. They went to small areas that needed convenience stores or they needed department stores.
And this is from Shatez Barnett. He's a junior, and I think this is a great question. And I'm a big fan of Miranda Joyner. She's all about branding and making yourself legitimate. Yes. And he's asking, when you first started your business and you created your website, how did you convince people that you were a legit business and not a scam?
Oh, wow. So in order for you to do that, you have to have certain certifications behind you. All right. And people look those certifications up, trust and believe, because they're out there.
That's a great point.
Yeah, they're out there. They will look up if you have your business license. They will look up to see if you have USDA certifications in insurance. They will look to see if you have been trademarked. They will look to see if you have any LLCs. So you have to make sure you have your paperwork in order when you have especially a multi-million-dollar business. You have to make sure you have all your ducks in a row, because it'll come back to bite you. So in the beginning, try to get all your paperwork together. Make sure you have a legal consultant. If you can't afford a legal consultant, you can go to websites and look up the information yourself. It might take a couple minutes, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah, places like LegalZoom.com, it's pretty affordable. They specialize in business licensing with all the legal stuff. And Hinds County, Madison County are different stuff, even within the state. I know the property tax in Hinds County, Madison County is different, and the city tax is also different. So you have to look at where you're licensed as well.
And for what products you're selling is different also. They have NCAS numbers. So you have to look to see, like, okay, if I'm selling alcohol, like you have different taxes for that. If you're selling cigarettes or anything like that, it's different types of taxes and paperwork that you need for that. If you have like a pool hall or anything where they gamble or do anything like that, all of that, you have to deal with different types of commissioners for different types of businesses. So yeah, you have to make sure you have all your paperwork in order because it'll come back to bite you.
Oh, it's highly illegal. And we thank you so much for joining us. I know you're in a crunch, and I appreciate you spending time. But I asked you this last time, but none of these people were here. What when it even if these everybody in the room looks like you, everybody else in this room, you've grown up black in the country in Mississippi, but yet you are doing some amazing things as an employee and as an entrepreneur. So even if they don't want to be an entrepreneur, let's say they just want to be an employee, what can they do to follow along the same path that you have, coming from very, very similar backgrounds?
Oh wow, you have to get a good, strong mentor. Like, get a good mentor. And you are a perfect mentor, like, for a student like that, because I've trained some of your students and they are the best. When I say there's some good, solid students with some good, solid backgrounds, they come from your school and where you taught them. And I feel like if y'all have a person like Greg behind you, or somebody that's going to support everything you have going on, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, you have to work. You have to do the work, no matter if it's for somebody else or for yourself. Just always have integrity and do your best at whatever you're doing, and you're going to succeed. It doesn't matter if you make $5 an hour. Just do whatever you're supposed to do. Do the best job that you can do and be respectful, because somebody will watch your work ethic and they'll say to you, hey, I got another job I think will be better for you. And then that job may pay 10 times more than what the $5 job was paying, because they saw your work ethic and your integrity. I come to work on time. I respect my boss. I do what they tell me to do. I don't talk back and be disrespectful. It's all about respect.
Absolutely.
No matter where you work at.
Yeah, that's great stuff, and I appreciate it. Now, before we go, you want to go ahead and tell them your website again, especially for those people that are watching this later on the recording. Let them know your website. They can find you and see your products and maybe possibly buy from you.
Yes, I'm Dr. Tammi Taylor. I'm Instagram at Dr. Tam Taylor. If you have any questions, you can DM me. Our website is Hair Luxury Co. It's hairluxuryco.com. You can order products from our website. You can also pick up locally if you're here in Jackson. You can pick up locally. We can meet you at the warehouse and we can give you your items. You can also see us on Walmart.com. We're in 3 hair stores here in Jackson. The Beauty Star and More, Pear Orchard, Beauty Star and More on Medgar Evers, and then we're at Northtown Pharmacy on Old Canton Road. So you guys can hit us up whenever with whatever questions. You can subscribe to our newsletter, subscribe to our website to get more information on new innovative hair products that we come out with each quarter.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I know about 6 or 7 people that have used your products, and I've heard nothing but rave reviews. So
I appreciate that so much.
I'm a natural hair person too, but I don't have any use for the product you sell. I don't think it'll do me much good, but the females that have used it have just gone on and on that it really is the best product out there. And I hope, I hope any of the young ladies that are here with me now, or any of the ones watching later, or somebody wants to buy something for their mom or significant other or grandmother, it is a really good value and a great product.
Yeah, we have a sale going on now for Labor Day. 25% off. Just put code Labor Day in and you get 25% off.
Okay, so you heard it.
I appreciate you for having me.
Hair Luxury Company, 20% off Labor Day weekend. So go to hairluxuryco.com and check out their products. And you also have some billboards around town as well. So you guys are doing some amazing things. So we thank you so much for joining us today, and it's always a pleasure. Hopefully we can get you back on.
It's always a pleasure. Yes.
We'll get you back on campus soon.
It's always a pleasure.
I hope you weren't the jinx that caused all this, but
no, you're the last one.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you, Greg. Y'all take care.
All right. Thank you so much. See ya.